Canto 10. Summary. As the travelers leave the gate behind and make their way up a craggy path, they come out onto a ledge between 15 and 20 feet wide. Across from them, built into the mountainside, they see a long marble wall full of intricate carvings. The first tells of the Annunciation to Mary and her humble response. The second is of David dancing before the ark as it is being brought into Jerusalem, as well as Michael's scorn. Third is the story of the Emperor Trajan, halting his campaign to give justice to a poor widow and to avenge her son. All these images are pictures of humility. They are examples of that virtue that stands opposite to the vicious habit that is purged on this ledge, pride. Turning from the wall, the pilgrim sees something which at first he cannot identify. As he looks closer, he is able to make out a cluster of souls bent over double with large burdens on their backs. Their faces are forced to look down in humility as a means of rehabituating them in that virtue. Canto 10. The Proud. Once we had passed the threshold of the gate that the evil love of the soul neglects, since it makes the twisted way appear straight. Resounding, I heard it closing again, and what worthy excuse could there have been for the fault had I turned my eyes to it? We were climbing up through a fractured stone that shifted from one side to the other like waves that rush out and come back again. Here one must make use of a little art, began my leader, in keeping close to the side, now here, now there, that falls away. And this back and forth made our passage slow, so much so that the waning moon once more returned to its bed and laid itself down before we were out of the needle's eye. But when we were free and in the open, there where the mountain shrinks back a little, I was weary. Both of us, uncertain of our way, we rested on that level, more lonely than pathways through the desert lands. From the edge where it borders emptiness to the foot of the high cliff that rises would measure 3 times a human body, and as far as my eye could wing its flight, now to the left and now to the right side, this cornice seemed to be of such a width. We had not yet brought our feet up above when I knew that the bank on the inside, sheer as it was, lacked the means to climb it, being of white marble and adorned with such carvings that not only Polyclitus, but nature too would there be put to shame. The angel that came to earth with news of that peace, wept for many a year, that opened heaven after its long ban, appeared before us so convincingly engraved there in a gentle attitude, it did not seem like the image was still. One would have sworn that he was saying Ave, for she was represented there as well, who turned the key to open the high love. And in her attitude were stamped these words, Ecce Ancilli Dei, as clearly as a figure is itself sealed in wax. Let not your mind remain just on one place, said my sweet master, who was keeping me on that side where all people have their hearts. Therefore I turned my gaze and kept looking further on, past Mary, on that same side where he was who was encouraging me, at another story carved in the rock. Therefore I walked past Virgil and drew near, so that it might be placed before my eyes. Carved there in the same marble was the cart and the oxen pulling the holy ark, by which one fears an office not bestowed. People appeared before it. They all made, split in 7 choirs. One of my senses say, no, and the other, yes, they do sing. In the same way, the smoke from the incense, imaged there, set the eyes and nose at odds with each other concerning yes and no. There was, coming before the blessed vessel, the humble psalmist dancing, robes girt high, both more and less than king in that moment. Opposite, depicted in a window of a grand palace, Michael was gazing just like a spiteful and wicked lady. I moved my feet from where I was standing to see closer up another story, whitening to me from beyond Michael. There depicted in story was the high glory of the Roman prince whose merit moved Gregory to his grand victory. I am speaking of Emperor Trajan. A little widow was at his bridle, in an attitude of tears and sorrow. There appeared around him a teeming crowd of horsemen. Above them all the eagles in gold were clearly moving in the wind. The wretched woman in the midst of these was seeming to say, Lord, avenge my son, who is dead, for whose sake my heart is pierced. It looked as if he answered her, Now wait till I should return. And she, If my lord, as one in whom suffering hastens on, you don't return. And he, One in my place will help you. And she, What will another's good be to you if you forget your own? Wherefore he, Now comfort yourself. It's right I perform my duty before I move. Justice wills it, piety restrains me. He who has never seen anything new made this visible speech a novelty to us, for it is not found in this world. While I was taking delight in gazing at images of such humilities, precious to see because of their maker. Look at this, the poet was murmuring. Many people, but with sporadic steps. These ones will direct us to the high stairs. My eyes, contented in gazing to see a newness of which they were desirous, were not slow in turning themselves to him. Nevertheless, I do not wish, reader, that you waver from your good commitment to hear how God wills that the debt is paid. Attend not to the form of the torment. Think of the inheritance. Think, at worst, it cannot go beyond the great judgment. I began, Master, what I see moving toward us seem not to be persons to me. I don't know what, my seeing is so confused. And he to me, The weighty condition of their torment bends them down to the earth, such that my eyes had to work hard at first. But look closely there, and disentangle with your vision what comes beneath those stones. Now you can glimpse how each one beats himself. O proud Christians, wretched and exhausted, who, feeble in the visions of the mind, have put their faith in backsliding paces, do you not realize that we are worms born to become angelic butterflies that fly to justice without protection? Why does your soul exalt itself on high, since you are like a defective insect, like worms in which the formation is flawed? As one will sometimes see for a corbel a figure joining its knee to its breast in order to support a loft or roof, that which is untrue begetting true pain in him who sees it. So I saw them made, once I was able to better discern. It is true they were more and less weighed down, based upon the more and less on their backs. And he who, in bearing, showed most patience, weeping, seemed to be saying, I can no more.